imagine the absolute sadness of playing Fallout 76. And then imagine you actually get to level 284 in it. But wait, and then you see someone at level 2759. Oh my god.
We just got some massive updates on the future of Fallout 76. Bethesda just shared a ton of details, not only on the next major update coming in just a couple of weeks now, but also a look much further ahead at some of the exclusive events coming later in 2024. And as of right now, 2024 is shaping up to be the most active year for Fallout 76 ever. In just a couple of weeks,
I mean, yeah, maybe it's really active for 76, but at the end of the day, who cares? It's still a bad game. And it's not like they're making good updates, they're making bad updates.
on September 3rd, Milepost 0 will be dropping. Right now,
The last update they did, they rewrote Fallout lore and made it into a pile of trash. Because the Fallout TV show needed to do it.
it's almost entirely playable on the public test server, and this is going to be a big update. Fundamental changes are coming to the game, and this is going to make the game far more enjoyable for a ton of you. And even as we look ahead at some of the future content coming a bit further down the line, I have found some data mines that add some very important pieces of context as to what exactly is on the horizon. And if you subscribe from the link on this post, I may get a commission. But first, I gotta ask, do you like ads? Well, today's video sponsor, YouTube Premium, you can go completely.
Wait. He got sponsored by YouTube Premium? I want to be sponsored by YouTube Premium.
Forever. One of the core features coming with Milepost 0 is caravanning, and this has the potential to be absolutely amazing. You'll be introduced to caravanning via a short quest, where you'll discover a Blue Ridge
Caravanning is the stupidest thing ever, okay? Caravanning is an absolute fail in concept, in execution, in everything. I said this the first time we heard about this, because name me a single game where escorting an NPC is fun. Where escorting an NPC is interesting. Oh, can't think of any? Well, that's strange. And ta-da, here's caravanning. This is almost at the same level when Elder Scrolls Online stole World of Warcraft's first implemented content design ever, aka Torghast from Shadowlands. Oh my god. And now Bethesda is stealing escort missions from World of Warcraft. This is insane. No one likes them. Everyone hates escort missions.
Caravan that was ambushed by super mutants. We can grab that.
Wow, I can't wait to escort a caravan that gets ambushed by a reindeer. Wow, very cool.
Caravan supply and take it back to Milepost 0, a newly formed Blue Ridge caravan spot right here in Shenandoah Valley. The actual quest is a pretty short introduction to the caravanning feature. You'll find a new character who just started their own Blue Ridge chapter, but due to some of the ongoing weather issues in the region, and of course this is referencing the most recently added Skyline Valley questline. I won't spoil what happens if you haven't played it, but the weather in this area is changed as a result of that questline.
Holy, look at that red tint. Oh my god, it's a brand new game, boys. Log in, log in.
Which is now the direct justification for us getting involved in this new caravanning feature. So it's a pretty cool way to have everything come full circle here. And the quest itself will end.
Why? Why do we even need to come full circle here? It's a caravan. The lore implications and explanations why caravans are a thing is because food, trade, money, and all of those stuffs. You don't need an explanation that justifies the existence of caravans.
And here, as we do have a 500 pat buy-in to really unlock the new caravanning feature. But after that, you'll be able to send out your own caravans in Fallout 76, and the way this will work is pretty interesting. You basically are buying in to run a portion of this caravan company for yourself.
The cow's literally almost flying constantly. That's insane.
You'll largely just be guarding the caravans as they're out there. So you'll have options to select.
Also, it's just a cow. So what? The irradiated double head cows are smart enough to know exactly where they're going? What are they? World War II messenger pigeons?
As they're out there. So you'll have options to select from small, medium, or even large caravans. And then in Skyline Valley, you'll be guiding that caravan along its route as various obstacles pop up against you. The larger the
Yeah, an ant. Okay.
cargo size you
The as expected ambush of ants on the caravan. I literally can't, boys, okay? I'm struggling here.
Shows, the better the rewards you'll get. There's a new caravan supply currency implemented with this one.
Oh
But of
my
course, the
god, I
larger the
couldn't
load,
see.
the more difficult the route will be, as many enemies will be popping up, and your task
A mole rat! Did you see that? Oh my god, I hope the mole rat doesn't... I hope the singular mole rat doesn't just destroy the caravan.
is to keep this Brahmin alive. And I would say the overall gameplay of this new caravanning feature is pretty similar to how it worked in another event known as free range. But as opposed to free range, while caravanning you only have one Brahmin to protect, thank God. The core of this is pretty straightforward. You're running along the road next to a Brahmin. You could make it hurry so it'll kind of sprint forward slightly. But other than that, just keep the Brahmin alive and you'll win. But this does have some really nice social aspects to it as well. Once a caravan is launched, it'll alert the entire server, just like a public event. So oftentimes other players will jump in and help you protect that caravan, able to earn some rewards for themselves. And this could definitely get pretty intense.
Why just not start your own caravan then?
As you follow your route, you'll come against all sorts of enemies from Fallout 76. And when you have larger loads, this can pose a fairly significant threat. The caravan HP can drop very quickly and plenty of times 10.
So you're telling me this whole mechanic is literally the cow gets accidentally shot down because reasons and there you kind of go. Okay, very cool.
Plus enemies will launch an attack on you all at the same time. If you're playing this with the largest caravan loads and solo, it could definitely get pretty difficult to actually keep your caravan alive. But on the flip side, if you have some of these larger attacks while a bunch of higher level players are all participating, it becomes really fun because you all actively have to work together to keep that Brahmin alive on its route. At points while caravanning, it could definitely be a bit of a running simulator. You'll have minutes go by where you're just running
Yeah, we know that.
by this caravan side, and I wouldn't hate to see a bit more activity on some routes, but this honestly might be a server stability concern, and perhaps that's why you're not seeing a bit more. And in beyond just attacks from various enemies from Fallout 70.
Yeah, we know the server stability thing. When people were flown out to play the expansion of the whatever valley it's called, the events were populated with huge amounts of enemies, but when the game actually launched, the enemies were cut back to 1/10 of what it was because the servers can't handle it. Great stuff.
Bethesda also implemented a fair number of random encounters and random events along these routes. So the caravan can get caught up in some obstacles that you'll need to clear out. That's one of the more common ones, but there are more rare ones as well, like finding bodies that have more supplies, a Mr. Trick-or-Treat NPC you can interact with, and a bunch more. It's not all just combat, there are definitely some oddities you could run into while caravanning, and they do a good job at making the feature feel entertaining even after doing several caravans in a row. If your Brahmin does survive all the
Here's the bear ambush because obviously.
way to the end, you'll be able to deposit your cargo and earn some new caravan supply, which is going to be the new currency associated with this feature. After this, you are able to immediately run more caravans, but it'll come at a cost. Basically, there's going to be a bit of a cooldown for the free or basic runs. But after you do one of those, you can immediately just keep running caravans, but it'll cost caps for insurance, with the largest load oftentimes costing over 1,000 caps to run, which can get very expensive very quickly. So this may end up becoming a nice cap sink for higher level players, but you can
No.
also take those newly earned caravan supplies back to your Milepost 0 to unlock quite a few different things. Through new employees which can be hired, a Brahmin handler who will sell even further upgrades for the Brahmin, so you can change their food to improve various stats like their speed, health regen, or others. There's a decorator you can hire to improve the state of Milepost 0, although all of those changes are purely cosmetic as far as I can tell. And overall, I found this core feature to be a ton of fun, but as of right now, it definitely has some glaring problems. The actual process of
Why is the cow red suddenly? Why?
has some glaring problems. The actual process of caravanning can be a really enjoyable experience when you get a few players here and you're all just organically walking around this newly added region of Appalachia, because Shenandoah was only just added with the past update, and that's where this caravanning will be taking place, which is just cool.
Oh wait, you're telling me it's just in one location and it's just Shenandoah? That's lame. Knowing Bethesda, there's probably like 3 destinations.
I'm happy they're sticking around in
Oh,
this region,
boy.
and now you'll have even more players natively interacting with it, and the social aspect is just fun. It's fun to play Fallout 76 with other strangers. And if anything, I wouldn't even mind there being a even higher difficulty or larger load you can take that perhaps has an even more distinct alert, so it'll be a true boss fight level challenge during the caravan, but perhaps the entire server gets to find out about this so everyone can participate for even better rewards. But sadly, as fun as this is from a
It's probably kept to a team of like 4 or something, as always.
gameplay perspective, the major problems
And then you get put in your own instance.
do come on the reward side. Outside of the Brahmin Tamer, you can also unlock other new vendors who will sell you new cosmetics and a new weapon for
By the way, obviously all the NPCs that are in power are women. Just want to point that out, because again, remember, Bethesda is a WoW garbage dumpster fire with pronouns.
caps. After unlocking and increasing the rank of the ammo vendor, because yes, you can increase the vendor's ranks to unlock even more options from them that you purchase, but after increasing their rank, you'll get a short quest to unlock this new laser rifle, known as the Vault 63 Laser Carbine. And this vendor will even
Ooh, that looks pretty good though.
sell you mods for this new weapon. We'll talk more about that weapon in a moment though. But the issue here is, after you unlock each of the
And by the way, it's just your typical Fallout 76 rifle that's supposed to be used in VATS, has almost an unreloadable amount of ammo inside of it, because of course it does. And yeah, that's kind of it.
issue here is, after you unlock each of these various vendors and upgrade them to gain access to their full stock of new items, there's literally no point to continuing to run caravans, because the items you buy from these vendors are sold to you in caps. So like, there's 3 vendors, and they cost 150 supply each, and then you have to upgrade them for another 100 supply, but then once you have all of them fully upgraded, you don't really need supply for anything. And even beyond that, there's really no point to continue running caravans. It's not like you'll continue unlocking new features, you'll just be getting supply to upgrade caravans to make them go faster, but there isn't actually a point in going any faster because you already unlocked all the things you need to unlock. So if you're more of a gameplay focused player, not too worried about cosmetics, which I definitely am, this feature is going to run out of uses very quickly. The vast majority of the rewards here are either going to be new outfits or new camp items. And there is this weird dynamic where some of the top tier caravan upgrades, like to make your caravans go way faster, cost 500 supply. But if you have 500 supply,
500 supply? Dude. We saw him get like 15 supply.
you can basically unlock all of the vendors already, so there's not really a point to ever buying some of these upgrades. But okay, those issues aside, there are also just the social aspect. It's fun to play with other players and protect these caravans. Except unfortunately, in the most recent PTS
Wait, this is an actual thing you just did? There spawns a bunch of trees in front and you need to shoot them to clear them? That's so dumb.
update, there have been some major
Wow. Dude, okay, no, listen. This is no longer just escort an NPC type of quest. No. This now seems the equivalent of the introduction to Shatrak City in Burning Legion. Okay, you know that quest where you need to go to Khadgar and he's like, well, since you're completely brain damaged, you need an introduction of the city and what's happening here, because how would you ever know without it? And here, have a 10-minute walk, follow an NPC while it is just this boring line of dialogues quest. Oh no.
nerfs here as well, because while you do earn 50, 25, or 10 supply for running the large, medium, or small caravans, you only actually earn 5, 3, or 1 supply for being a guest or helping out somebody else's.
Okay, so why would I ever... Okay, I understand why they made it as a mechanic, because people are going to figure out where the caravans start and where the caravans end, because again, there's only going to be like, what, 2-3 destinations where the caravans can go? So, otherwise people would just open the minimap and join the caravans when they are at the destination. And they would just get rewards. That is the reason why they are doing this. They should make it how, depending on the length of time you actually spent escorting the caravan, that's how much reward you get. It's so simple, but again, it's Bethesda.
this caravan. So if you go through this fairly strenuous process that could take 20 minutes at points to guard somebody else's large caravan, and yeah, you'll use a fair amount of resources, there might be a ton of enemies on this route, in the end, you'll only actually get 5 supply, which just doesn't really feel worth it at all. And when you're doing some of these smaller caravans, you'll only get 1 supply in the end, which is basically irrelevant when almost every unlockable costs 50 supply or more. You'd have to do this 50 times to unlock something. So I have to imagine shortly after this feature does release, a lot of people will not be joining these caravans because they'll quickly realize, oh yeah, it's just not really worth it. Hopefully we see these values adjusted somewhat. It definitely is a feature with a ton of promise, but it definitely needs some further refinements, specifically on the reward side. This could really be a great social event that'll consistently
By the way, you know how these fights actually tend to go? It's hilarious. Because again, the game's a buggy mess. If you're playing a ranged character, aka a sniper, which by the way you can't really do in Fallout 76, it's just a waste. You're gonna be miserable if you do that. That's one of the reasons why I don't like this game, because it kind of completely reduced the reason to be a sniper. You're gonna be in situations where you're like fighting some goals or whatever at range, and then you turn around and it turns out there's this random level 2 ghoul just being literally in your face from the back and shooting you from melee range, because that's what every NPC in this game is programmed to do. They're just programmed to slowly get into your face at melee range and then just shoot you with 1 bullet every 3 minutes. It is insane. This game is a buggy mess.
be in the background for when you want to play with other people, but it just doesn't really make sense to contribute to this one long term. Once you unlock some of those vendors, you could kind of just ignore caravanning outright. Although, the new weapon you can unlock from this one is fantastic, that with the Vault 63 laser carbine. This weapon will have a variety of attachments, but it'll also introduce a unique overheating mechanic that it'll take advantage of. So unlike in other games, this weapon doesn't stop firing when you start overheating with it, but instead it'll actually deal more damage the higher your heat. So you can almost think of this like an LMG laser weapon. You want that heat to be at maximum quantity, and you'll be dealing tons of damage per shot. Actually, a bit of a ridiculous amount of damage per shot. And with the correct legendary effects, this can easily be the most powerful laser weapon in the game. Further balance passes may come, considering how powerful this is right now, so I don't want to exclaim about it too much before we actually get to release. But yeah, right now on paper, this thing is incredibly powerful and definitely worth jumping in caravanning just to unlock this. But Milepost Zero may also have you adventuring around Appalachia a bit more as well to check out some best builds. This is another really cool new feature where users can submit their camps to be featured as a best build, and these will just pop up on servers at random. So if you look around the map, you'll find some camp icons that will stick out a bit more. This is a best build. That player isn't on your server right now, but you can still fast travel to that camp and check it out in all its glory, as oftentimes these are really cool camp designs.
Okay, so this thing is not gonna last because people are gonna stop submitting because no one plays this game.
And it'll even cycle out every hour, so you'll get a constant flow of fresh and interesting camps to check out. Exploring on my server, I found a diner stop. It had a truck right outside, along with a bunch of arcade games like you'd expect, but also a full suite of services on the inside. Another really cool literal camp build, as in people camping, built around the Skyline Valley Lookout, which thematically really nailed things, and of course a bunch more. These are just random builds I found while adventuring on my server, and you even have the option to like the build, which is a nice touch. A feature like this finally getting added is huge. Despite Fallout 76 being an MMO in some senses, the individual servers themselves don't really hold a ton of people. Best Builds is a fantastic feature to expose you to far more of the community-made content, and I really love everything about this. I hope we see even further expansions of features like this in the future. The Milepost Zero update will also contain a massive combat rebalance. Many weapons are getting damage changes, and perhaps
Who cares?
even more importantly, the stats and resistances of many creatures.
Well, by the way, weapon changes are gonna be such a destructive thing for this game. Because keep in mind, with every update they introduce, they pretty much just introduce a new BIS slot weapon. And the thing is, if you're someone who's playing for a long time, you're probably slowly getting tired of using the exact same gun for the exact same every occurrence in the game. Because that's dumb.
Features in the world are also reworked here.
You probably want to actually use a different gun time to time.
Creatures will have even more defined roles, being tankier against certain damage types, but notably weaker against other types of damage. And then beyond that, your damage output
Oh, that's crazy. That's actually an answer to what I just said. Introduce creatures to be tankier against different types. Technically, that's a band-aid. That's not really a solution, it's a band-aid. Because, okay, so what now? What are people gonna do? They're gonna have one ballistic weapon, one energy weapon, maybe one flamethrower, maybe one, I don't even know what. Okay. It's still gonna be the exact same weapons for every single person.
Output will be adjusted.
Because this is previously, by the way, that wasn't the thing because people use different types of weapons and whatnot. But now, considering they make these updates and they introduce stuff like this, which is gonna be without question the best laser weapon in the game, it's not even gonna be close. Everyone's gonna use this as their laser weapon. So, what's the solution to this? Nothing.
If you're using poison or fire for damage over time, you'll almost certainly notice a change after this update. One of the biggest aspects of this is when it comes to boss fights, as bosses have been fundamentally reworked to no longer have damage mitigation. Previously, Fallout 76 bosses would simply ignore some of the incoming damage to survive longer, but now instead, that is gone and the bosses will have a massive health pool, but damage will deal fully. So for lots of
Okay, that's cool. That makes a lot of things stronger.
players, things will feel about the same, but if you're using a critical or damage over time build, this will be a pretty big nerf, especially in boss fights, and just in general, some of these boss fights will likely be lasting a bit longer as a result of these changes. The combat rebalance has been gradually changing, and this is a massive one, so I'll be diving a lot deeper as this actually comes out, because I don't want to make a full video on it and then it actually get edited even further, but just know for now that some things will definitely be weaker in this next update. It's not like it's buffs all around the board, and really only a few
I love this that he's technically in the late game, but he still can't kill the Liberator MK5 robots that literally are the first thing you can encounter when you leave the vault. I love the fact that you're in the late game, but you still can't actually deal with the base game enemies.
select items are getting notable or major buffs here, but you may as well get stronger in the next Fallout 76.
Bro literally just used 50 bullets to kill one level 75 mob that spawns in front of the vault when you exit. Oh boy!
Update, as legendary crafting is also coming this September. The ability for us to manually swap around legendary effects on items is coming, and that's actually pretty massive. Fallout 76's endgame is very much so about finding that god roll legendary to be relevant in combat and synergize with your build, and legendary crafting may make it so you can get that.
I love how people are saying build. There's no such thing as a build in this game. There's literally not enough things to call a build, okay? That's it. How is more damage on weapon as a modifier a build, buddy? It's not. It's just a damage modifier. It's not a build. The only thing that's a build in this game is avoiding damage when low on life and having the thing that, effectively this build that he's currently using. That's the only thing that can even be remotely constitutionalized as a build because it requires like 2-3 things to function.
God roll even faster than ever before. This is another feature that has gone through several renditions on the PTS, so things may change by the time of release. But currently, the way legendary crafting works is actually pretty simple. You can individually edit the mods on most of your legendary weapons in the game as long as they're not unique. So you could just go to the 1, 2, or 3 star and just swap out whatever is there for something else. But first, you'll need to have that mod. And the way you'll learn legendary mods or just get a few in your inventory is by scrapping legendary weapons. And two things could happen as you scrap a legendary weapon. There is a 1% chance that you can learn the plans for one of the legendary mods on that weapon. So if it's a 3 star, you have a 1% chance to learn one of those 3 star effects, but you can never learn more than one of those 3 star effects. After learning that plan, you could head over to a Tinkerer's workbench and craft the mod box itself, which will contain the legendary. Crafting this will cost some legendary modules, which you'll need to purchase from the purveyor, and with some of the legendary effects, it'll also cost an item like a bobblehead or a magazine. obviously this means you'll be spending a lot more legendary modules going forward, and as such, many public events will rework to now give you legendary modules as a reward. But there's also a completely different system. Alternatively, you can just actually get a single version of that legendary mod, because there is also a 1.5% chance to get any of the individual mods in that weapon itself. You don't learn how to craft it, instead you just get one legendary mod and you could go apply that to a weapon. And when you try to apply a legendary mod to a weapon, it'll cost you some script to attach it. And one of the pretty big features of this is these mod boxes that you could earn via scrapping are fully tradable. So those legendary bloodied mods are likely going to be incredibly valuable in the 48 to 72 hours after this update does ship.
And after that, people are going to give it to the new players on the ground as a gift, because obviously they are.
And probably for a while thereafter. And honestly, it's a fairly simple system. Scrap legendary weapons to earn legendary mods, whether that be a plan or just a raw form of them that you could then apply to other weapons to enhance them even further. As it exists right now, this will definitely take some time, particularly learning the plans can be a massive time dump, but once unlocked, it'll stay with you forever. And for some of those stronger effects like Bloodied, that of course can be massive. You'll just be able to craft that freely going forward. You of course need to have enough modules and whatever other item, but that seems like the lesser of the parts. And overall, I definitely think this is an upgrade over what we have right now. It'll give you a much clearer path to getting that specific type of legendary, which I think is a great and very welcome addition to the game. Although, even in addition to all of that, which is coming on the September 3rd update, we also gotta look even further into the future of Fallout 76 thanks to QuakeCon, as we now have a pretty nice schedule.
Oh boy, even more news about whatever this is. Gleaming Depths, okay.
Layout. We know Milepost 0, including most of the features I just talked about, is dropping on September 3rd. The new playable Ghoul class will be coming early into 2020.
The mod part, I think that's at least okay, honestly. Everything else is kind of crap and dumb, but the mod thing, I think, is actually kind of okay. I'm not against it, at least.
5, but right in the middle, in December, there's going to be another new update with Gleaming Depths. And this is shaping up to look pretty special. We had a short teaser during QuakeCon 2024, as this is basically going to be a vault.
Imagine you going through a very, very small tunnel to do a boss arena battle with a boss that doesn't move. It's gonna be amazing.
Raid-esque system, except this time around, it's going to be a fissure raid. You can see some brave adventurers going deeper into an ultra-site fissure. Several new enemies appear, including what looks like some kind of new serpent boss tier enemy, and that's really it. The trailer itself was super short, a definite tease of.
Bro, we saw the serpent boss enemy at the start of the video, and he's like, oh, some kind of serpent boss. Bro, you can literally see it's a cobra. It's a giant cobra.
What's to come? We'll likely be learning a lot more at Gamescom 2024.
There you go. What's the mystery here? Some kind of serpent. Right there. Right there. Very, very visible.
Just next week, but we've also learned a bit more from some of the recent data mines.
And if you're not fine with Cobra Snake, whatever.
Right off the bat, the entrance to this new raid is already in-game. You can find it in the Ash Heap region as the southernmost fissure site, which has a newly edited entrance. Via some data mines from the Data Miners Discord, these new raids have been linked to some Enclave research around fissure sites, so perhaps there'll be some kind of intro.
Oh boy, I can't wait until they ruin the Enclave. Lore as they did everyone else's lore in the Fallout TV show. Oh boy.
Introductory questline having to do with the Enclave. And in the more recent PTS updates, there have also been several new entries around 4-star legendary items, including 4-star legendary support with much of the new legendary crafting system. That has led many to believe that perhaps these new fissure raids will be the avenue to unlocking 4-star items in Fallout 76. Like perhaps after doing this raid, you'll unlock something that'll give you access to 4 stars in the future. And even a new public team for these raids was found in the files. During the QuakeCon stream, they described tougher boss fights overall, and it seems like that's what this new raid will entail.
Wow, tougher boss fights. Wow, just more damage, sponginess, and using Stimpaks. What a time to be alive. Anyway, Juicehead, what a time to be a time. Have a nice day. Bye.